Jason Schreier is one of the worst journalists I've ever had the dissatisfaction of reading content from, and he is somebody who goes on blocking sprees on social media and attacks the very people he claims to need to read his articles. And now we have Jason Schreier attacking gamers yet again, but this time as chuds and lies about DEI policies within the industry. I have a few different things to show off, but before I get into the topic, if you enjoy the content I create, check out the links in the description, join the community in my live streams, and consider supporting through Patreon or YouTube memberships. Now, I've been blocked by Jason for years at this point. He is somebody who clearly does not like me and does not like my takes, and I do call him out very frequently. And now we're finding out that he is yet again attacking gamers. So this is a Fandom Pulse article. It says Jason Schreier, who currently writes at Bloomberg but previously worked at Kotaku, attacked gamers as chuds and lied, stating that they don't fail financially due to diversity, equity, and inclusion initiatives. Now, yep, he had worked for Kotaku for a very long time. He's still very much so in that mentality of hating gamers. It really is a qualification for working at all of these mainstream media's sites, but now, he has disingenuously attempted to claim that Dragon Age the Veilguard was doing well sales-wise while posting a photo of the game's peak concurrent player count hitting 58,958 players. And sure, right, the game eventually hit a peak of 70,000 in its first day and attained an all-time peak of 77,000 players in its second day, but both of these numbers are not particularly great. We are seeing games do crazy numbers like Black Myth Wukong, for example, right? Game Science's first title, 2.4 million players, peak concurrent. That is insane. We saw over the past few days the Monster Hunter Wilds beta do 450,000 players. Now, of course, that was free, but at the same time, it's very clear that that is going to be a major game. And of course, you would think that with Dragon Age, they would have better numbers because we're talking about EA and Bioware here. We're talking about a franchise that, yes, has had a lot of attention over the years, that a lot of people do genuinely love, and we do not know the console numbers, so there's a chance that those numbers are super high and it's doing amazing, but usually that's not the case. Typically, the numbers are quite similar on PC versus consoles. We don't know for certain, though. But of course, people like Jason Schreier, they just want a win over the gamers, right? They want to own the chuds and they want to roast the people that they do not align with politically, that they think are genuinely terrible human beings, which of course is an awful mentality. When you are a journalist, you are supposed to simply be giving people information, and Jason Schreier here is not some like opinion piece writer. He is sitting on social media, though, just attacking people instead of being like, hey, here's the reason why this is actually very good for Bioware. And he could talk about the budget, and he could talk about the amount of developers they had and the amount of years and maybe some of the sales numbers they were expecting to hit. Like, he could do something to prove that he's not a loser, but he doesn't do that. And in response to one user asserting that there's genuinely no way you like this turd, Jason Schreier responded with, I actually don't like the game very much, but I do like seeing you chuds get dunked on. So he's straight up admitting that the game sucks, and hey, I've played quite a bit of it now. I'm not the biggest fan of it. It's very pretty. Like, the environments are super pretty, the graphics are nice, I think the combat is good, but the story, whether it is the main story you're following, the character stories, the dialogue, it's all super bland and cringeworthy. There is a lot of preachiness within this, with the transgender sections, the non-binary sections, the pronouns. It's a lot. Even in just a few hours of playing the game, never mind when you're halfway through it. And Jason Schreier is admitting that, yeah, the game really isn't that good. But instead of, admitting that in an article, perhaps, he's doing it by posting it online saying, I just like to see you chuds get dunked on. They love to claim that, content creators like YouTubers are not professional like they are, yet they go on social media and they're like, oh my God, you guys are losers. I love seeing you get dunked on. Okay, this is why nobody takes you seriously. And also, we are talking about the Jason Schreier here, who had information regarding the awful state of Blizzard internally and the way that the developers were being treated, but he held onto that information for several years in order to profit off of it by releasing a book. So, I don't know. I just don't really think that we should be listening to Jason Schreier. Somebody else said, in other words, you actually don't care about the game, you just want to feel your wokeism validated, which is 100% what he is admitting here. He doesn't care about the game, whether it was good or whether it was bad, and he also thinks that it's bad, but he's just agreeing that it's great to see that it's a success because he doesn't want people he disagrees with to have a win in their book. He said, no, I am simply sharing another data point to support what I've been trying to explain for years now, which is despite what idiots may tell you, DEI is not a factor in whether games do or do not sell. He's talking about a game that peaked at 77,000 players, and sure, right? That's 77,000 people. That's not, zero by any means. But on the flip side, he's saying that while ignoring tons of examples of games that have come out this year that have either done extremely well, like Black Myth Wukong, that don't shove DEI in your face and follow those initiatives, or he's straight up ignoring the fact that plenty of games that have focused on diversity and inclusion have been major flops this year, like Concord, Flintlock, The Siege of Dawn, Unknown Nine Awakening, Dustborn. He could show all of these other data points, but he doesn't because it doesn't fit his narrative, and that's all he cares about. DEI initiatives do hurt studios and they do hurt games because natural diversity and inclusion, it being done for the sake of storytelling, right, to enhance these characters and giving them a background and simply making them feel more humanistic, that is good. The problem is when companies have a checklist and they go down it and they tick off, oh, we have a certain percentage of women. We have a certain percentage of people of color. We have a certain percentage of people with this sort of hair color or that sort of, skin color or this disability, right? Those are things that people do not like, and we can point that out and not be ists or phobes. We're simply stating the obvious. But people like Jason Schreier, again, are not going to be honest. They just want to make sure that the chuds end up losing. Now, of course, ironically, just 2 days after his attack on gamers and his obvious lie that DEI does not factor into poor sales, Ubisoft's Assassin's Creed boss informed a BAFTA event that the backlash to Assassin's Creed Shadows over its diversity and inclusion agenda has been devastating. Eurogamer reported that during the current climate, it's tough on our creative team. So which one is it? Are you gonna believe a Jason Schreier who's giving you one example that a game is doing half decent? Or are you going to believe an Assassin's Creed boss who's saying that this has been devastating emotionally and financially on us? This is not going good for us. And you also have all of the other examples, like, again, Concord, Dustborn, Unknown Nine Awakening, that have been financial flops. So Jason Schreier is trying to sit here and simply attack gamers, which isn't particularly shocking given he's done it plenty of times in the past. He does not actually care about doing anything positive for the gaming community, right? I try to sit here and I criticize companies for their decisions, whether it's predatory monetization, following initiatives, because I want the gaming industry to be better. And I do live stream games that are absolutely fantastic. fantastic, but I also highlight the pretty bad ones so that I can show you guys why they're bad, or at least why I personally think that they're bad and they're not good. But Jason Schreier here isn't a real gamer. He doesn't care about the industry. He just cares about owning the people that he disagrees with politically. But that's all that I really had to discuss in this video. Let everyone know your thoughts in the comments below. If you enjoyed this, give it a like, and if you didn't, give it a dislike. I appreciate your support either way, but I'll talk to you all again in the next video really soon.